can. To make this list of new technologies, and you have to tell me what kind of changes people would have in terms of culture, process, or processes, and how technology will affect their culture, the way they work, the place they work with, the people they work with, or the robots they work with. Yeah. So let's take a look. Hong Lee, can you tell us the technologies that you have checked, please? Just one or two is enough. Hong Lee. Yes, very softly, but yeah. But to speak a bit louder.
My micro had problems, so I can't speak louder.
Okay, it's okay. We can hear you. So go ahead, tell us. Which technological development did you research?
I was
You mean you didn't do it?
I haven't.
Okay, so let's go with Ping Chang, please.
Yes.
The technology?
The new technology development that occurred in the last 12 months.
So you didn't do the homework either.
Yes.
Okay, let's see somebody else. Chi, wake up.
I'm here.
Okay, so which technology?
No.
No, what does it mean no? Which technology is that? So which technology is that?
I think internet behavior.
How is that? How does it work?
Current to the internet is rapidly changing with it is an extension of IoT.
The IoT is very old, so how is it different?
It works with the data information and connectivity of different device with each other. It affects to people because consumer use the internet in different ways.
So in which different way?
For example, customers are more likely to seek opinion about other through social media and product rating site when
making a choose in a particularly health of customers.
Okay, but what does it have to do with Internet of Behaviors?
mm, mm,
For instance, Internet of Behavior would allow me to know everything you did, right? For instance, if I stop sharing right now, and now I have in front of me the picture of many of you. Okay, so let me see. I have 6x6. I have 35 people here. Okay, and I could easily click on, let's say, Kiolin, right? And just by clicking at her picture, I can have information about everything that she did this week. If she attended this class or other classes, if she went out with her friends, if she did the homework for the other classes or only for this class, or she didn't do the homework for the other classes. And for this class, what she had for breakfast, I can know everything about her and everybody else in this class, right? For instance, if I ask somebody, let's say I ask Tan, right? I tell her, oh, did you do the homework? And then Tan tells me, oh, I was very sick yesterday and that's why I couldn't do my homework. And then, however, when I click on her picture, I can see that yesterday, actually, she went to the coffee shop with her friends from 4 until 8 p.m. And then she went to have dinner with the friends from 8 to midnight. And that's the reason why she didn't do homework, right? Not because she was sick, as she said. So that is Internet of Behaviors, right? Every single device that you are using gives a lot of information, and that information, once it's analyzed, it can tell us, based on the patterns, what is that you do, how do you do things, for how long you do those things. And that, of course, has advantages, but it also has many disadvantages. For instance, in 2000, when I was working in the Center for Internet, we had already those trackers, but with your fingerprint. So we had to use our fingerprint to go into the office, and for every door that we cross inside of the building, we had to put our fingerprint. Even to go to the toilet, we had to put our fingerprint to open the door of the toilet, which it was, absolutely rude for them to do that, because they knew how long you were in the toilet. They knew how many coffee breaks did you take. They knew how many beers did you drink. They knew everything while you were on the building. And that is an absolute, break of your privacy. And that's one of the reasons why I quit, because it was absurd that they control even, whether I open the fridge and how many times I open the fridge or I don't, right? So imagine that anybody could have access to that data, that your data about your life, right? For instance, right now, I could easily somebody's picture, right, and see what kind of conversation they are having on their phones, right? For instance, I see very often people smiling during class, and I don't know what this is about, so I can just click on them and know what they are doing. But is it good to do that? Is it good that I have access to all that information about you? Do you think it's beneficial for you that I have that information about you?
No,
Why not?
because of the privacy.
But what if it helps me to, stop you from doing a bad behavior? Like, for instance, Jen is playing with the phone right now, right? If I could show everybody what she's looking on the phone right now, then maybe she will stop playing with the phone and she'll pay more attention to the class, right? Or Nan, she's changing screens because she's reading something else, right? And I can see that, and I can show you what is the screen that she's reading right now, which is not Zoom, right? And maybe if I do that, she will start paying attention to what we're doing here in Zoom and not reading other things. Same with Hui, right? So, can the technology be used for enforcing good behavior on people? In China, for instance, you have this social score. I don't know if you have read about that, but the social score basically will allow you or prevent you from doing certain things. For instance, let's say that I'm a person who always goes on the red light, that I borrow money and I don't pay it back, that I borrow a book and I don't give it back. And so my social score will be very low. If my social score is very low, then the cinema can prevent me from going into the cinema. The banks can decide not to give me loans anymore. The people will not hire me because they will think that I'm a person that is not good for society because my social score is very low. If that happens at the workplace, how would that affect you? Because that is the internet of behaviors, right? Letting other people know what you do, what you think at any time. Is that good or bad? Do you think that is the only technology that allows other people to know what you do? The internet of behavior? So do you think there are other technologies that allow people to know many other things about you? Or are other technologies that are in place to make you do things in a different way? No? No idea? Okay, so if you think a little bit further about what I told you, right? How people's behavior would change with technologies, then this next set of slides that we are going to be talking about is going to be, reviewing the non-technical aspects of the technologies, the ones that have to do with the success of the implementation of a project. And you will learn that most of the times, if a project fails, a technological project fails, it's not because the technology is bad, but it's because the people that is supposed to, use the technology to accept the change, they don't want to change. They don't see the advantages of changing, right? And so if you are a manager, then more than thinking about, the complexity of the technology, you should also think about the complexity of the change that people has to go through on their ways, on their manners, on their behavior, in order for your project to be successful, right? For instance, we always assume that when we learn online that the students are willing to pay attention because they really want to learn. But we are not assuming the fact that, for instance, students might not be willing or, concentrated enough to be learning on an online environment because they are not used to it, right? Or students, English is not good enough, so they cannot complete long periods of time, and therefore they rather see the recording because they can go at their own speed, right? On their own times. So for any technology to be used properly, it has to consider all those variables. And those variables, most of the times, are related to people for the successful implementation. So that's what we're going to be reviewing today. So let's take a look at that. Yeah. So I ask you to do this, and your second homework was related to this, right? What makes something high potential, strategic, key operational, or support? And we mentioned this here. We also said that this one is related with digital transformation, digital business transformation, adopting technology, and adapting technology. What I mentioned last class is that I want your projects to be in this area, right? To be projects that will show me something new, that they will be driven by opportunities. So there are opportunities in business, so based on your objectives, and there are opportunities on IT based on, still based on your objectives because it's business led, but it's based mostly on experimenting and innovation. So you will see how technologies that have been used in other industries, they might be useful, or in other situations, they might be useful for you in your industry as well, for your own project, right? So we are looking for projects that are A, they will make your company more competitive, or B, they will make your company more innovative because you will be experimenting with newer technology to obtain a certain result. So these are the two types of projects that we want. We don't want this kind of projects. So I don't want you to tell me, oh, I want to implement a project that will make a application for shopping for my clothes store because Amazon also does it, so I want to have it too. Well, that's the kind of projects I don't want. I don't want you to tell me I will make the clone of another app that already exists, right? Or that you tell me, well, we used to sell face-to-face, now we're going to sell online. So that is what I want to do. That is my project. There is no transformation there, right? It's just replacing one and make it maybe a bit more efficient, or it's a very utilitarian view. One technology was not good, so I replaced it by other technology. But there is no transformation in there. So for your transformation projects, I want you to really think about, what can be done. Look at the future, look at medium, long term, what can be done to make the companies better, right? Not which issues you can solve, not which problem you can solve, current problem you can solve, but which objectives in the long term you can reach with the use of technology. So I want you to be very creative when you propose, your projects, your apps. Is that clear? about the kind of app that I'm expecting you to create?
Yes.
Okay, then let's go on to the next one. Last class, we also talked about the opportunities provided by digital, and we mentioned that there are opportunities in 3 regions, right? One is customer service and service design. Second is on organizational processes, and the third one on business models. This means that, being digital gives you the opportunity to change your business model, just like Amazon has done it in the past, right? They started as a web shop, then the technology allows them to change into an online retailer, and now they are changing into a cloud services provider. Few weeks ago, Facebook told us that they are going to be called Meta now, right? And they say, now we are going to change. We are not going to be the same company we used to be before. Before we used to be a social network. Now we are going to be a virtual world, right? That's what Zuckerberg told us 3 weeks ago. So technology is making them change their business model. And after that, their revenue model will change too, for sure. Let's take a look at automation. In terms of automation, we want to automate processes that are repetitive, that, we have to do them, but they don't really add much value to what we do. But they are still essential for us. I'll give you one example. For a salesman, keeping a daily report of all the activities that they do in order to sell something, it takes them a lot of time. 80% of the time is spent on, registering the calls that they made, registering the answers that they got, registering, everything that they know about that account. But that takes them, 80% of the time. And 20% of the time, they spend it on making the calls and making the actual sales. So that means that they are wasting 80% of the time, right? What if we can use technology, automation, to automate all those administrative tasks that our salespeople have to do? What if all that is automatic? So now, instead of using 80% of the time on administrative tasks, now they spend only 20%. So that means that now they have 80% of the time free to do what is the real job of a salesperson: making calls, convincing people to buy. That would mean that they will sell 4 times, 5 times as much as they used to sell, each one of them. So by automating processes that were wrong, that were, flawed from the beginning, then we are making it possible for them to be more efficient, right? To do their actual job. And by doing that, we are helping them to generate more revenue for the company. So that's what we talk with the opportunities on organizational processes. As I mentioned before, if you have a bad process and you don't change anything on the process, and then you just change the technology, then you're still going to have a very modern technology inside of a bad process. So the first thing you have to do is you have to think, how can I change this process, make it leaner, make it better, and then use technology to make it even better. Let's take a look at the opportunities that we can have in terms of customer service. Let's imagine customer insight. Okay, let's imagine that you can know every transaction that a customer has made in the last 2 years, 3 years since he was your customer. And by looking at his individual pattern, you can see which products he normally buys, how much he spends, which times of the day he buys, or which products he buys on winter, on summer, right? And then let's say you are close to the time where he normally buys certain type of products, so you can send him an email and telling him, well, these are the advantages that you will get if you buy the product right now, right? If you take your offer, you can give him some incentives for it. And that is done automatically. You don't have to do anything. The system will do it for you. Those are the kind of opportunities we can have in customer insights. Now, let's suppose we have different ways for the customer to reach to us. We have Facebook, we have a users forum, we have mobile phone. They can text us, they can call us, they can send us email. And then from all the communications that we have with thousands of clients, we can use that to maybe know which features in the products that we make are the ones that are most accepted. We can also know which features or which shortcomings do our products have, so we don't make the same mistakes. And next time we create a new product for them, then they will be able to use them, right? They will get better products. So those are the things, those are the opportunities that we can get when we use this digital, okay? For creating customer service, for organizational processes, or for business models. Any question until there?
Martin,
Yes?
can I get 30 seconds to open the door for my dad? Because
sure.
he doesn't have the key.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Besides that, another question? No. Okay. So if there is no question, I propose we have a break, okay? Because me is sleeping already.